You know, the climate deniers are really in some ways similar to all of those almost 400 law enforcement officers in Uvalde, Texas, who were waiting outside an unlocked door while the children were being massacred. They heard the screams, they heard the gunshots, and nobody stepped forward.
That comparison, is this controversial? I think is the most reasonable thing in the world. It's like the most direct, obvious political metaphor that I've heard in a long time. And so you'll be shocked to find out that right-wingers are incensed by him saying that. They don't like him even popping up and reminding people that this is an area he's been working on for so long. And they are so angry about this. But we have more from Al Gore, so take a look.
Confronted with this global emergency, what we're doing with our inaction and failing to walk through the door and stop the killing is not typical of what we are capable of as human beings. We do have the solutions, and I think these extreme events that are getting steadily worse and more severe are really beginning to change minds.
I think so, very slowly, but I think that some people are beginning to understand it. It is indisputable. You look out your window, you see how the climate is changing. Now, as I said, some are freaking out. The comments below one version of that video I saw on Twitter was filled with people saying that none of his predictions had turned out to be true. And many, many years after an inconvenient truth, there is no better evidence that there is climate change than there was then. Bear in mind, we're in the middle of a massive heat wave right now with record-breaking heat. We'll give you some of the numbers, but I just wanted to throw a little bit of my I like to keep track of how bad things are going. So Greenland lost enough ice over 3 days to put West Virginia under a foot of water. And I just want to give credit to that climate reporter for using that as the point of comparison. Because in theory, you could use any state.
Yes.
But they decided to use West Virginia. There's no references to Joe Manchin in the article, and yet there kind of is.
Yep.
So anyway, that's 6 billion tons of ice melted in just 3 days. Now that's specifically off of Greenland. We have now in this heat wave set or tied 359 daily high temperature records in just 1 week. 709 records for the warmest overnight low temperature. So nights not as cold as they were, but only in 709 places. New records, for instance, were set in Boston, which reached 100 degrees Fahrenheit, and Providence, which hit 96 degrees Fahrenheit. This has left 90 million Americans under heat warnings and advisories as of this weekend. And there were at least 2 heat-related deaths just in the Northeast on Sunday specifically, and officials are saying we'll find out about more inevitably because this always happens. It's just hotter and hotter for longer than it used to be. And with all of this evidence, Francesca, some still refuse to admit what's out there. They willingly put themselves in the position of those Uvalde cops.
Yes. Absolutely, and or they feed into inevitably, and we've talked about this, but climate doom, which I think is even more dangerous, and climate cynicism. It's even more dangerous than admitting that it actually exists, and that is saying, there's nothing we can do about it. It's too late. No, it's not too late. There are millions and millions of lives that can be saved. To say nothing of the economy, if that is your number one goal. Yeah, it's better for the economy to stop climate change.
For more political news breakdowns, interviews, stories of activism, and me trying my hardest to care about the occasional big celebrity news story, subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/thedamagereport. And you can ring the bell wherever it is so you don't miss anything.